I know, this one is hitting your inboxes crazy early, but the Helldivers changes are coming in hot and heavy, and I've got them all covered here for you. Today's surprise patch update has brought in huge changes to melee, weapon sway, enemy AI, and we've even got a Helldiver tank we need to talk about. I did my best to break it all down for you with background footage as well, so let's get this thing going. If you want to be a super citizen and support the channel, you know what to do as we take a deep dive into Helldivers' latest patch update. Okay, this is coming in hot and heavy, and it's been a whirlwind of activity, changes, more changes, new information, and so on. But yeah, with all of that in mind, we've got a massive amount of patch notes to go through, covering everything from Sidearm and SMG sway changes to the Automatons now being tuned up to be even more lethal on level 9s and 10s. We've got wholesale melee changes, programmable ammo UI cleanups, a ton of in-game fixes, and even durable damage changes to our vehicles, including, wait for it, the long-awaited appearance of the Bastion Tank. Yeah, today is crazy, wild, and full of hype for us Helldivers, and so let's dive on in. Patch update 6.0.0 is now live in the game, and since I'm recording this prior to it being made available, I have no idea how big this patch is, but I will add it into my pinned comment and video description once I know, and if any of my awesome viewers out there can please comment how large the patch size is for both PS5 and Xbox, I'd be forever grateful. Now, as many of you know, SMGs and sidearms have been through a series of, well, let's just call them what they are, controversial changes, seeing both of these weapon types receive a ton more drag and sway. And to set the baseline for what is happening here and what is going on in these patch changes, you need to know first what both do. Drag is the damage to distance drop-off, meaning the further a target is from you when using one of these weapons, the less damage your rounds will do when firing out to longer ranges than, say, when compared to that of an assault rifle or DMR. Sway is this annoying mechanic Arrowhead added in that makes the weapons harder to handle by making them wander around the aiming reticle, which you can see here on screen right now, which is most noticeable after sprinting. And also, this has a negative effect on your accuracy, and in general, makes both sidearms and SMGs less fun to shoot. Well, update 6.0.0 has dropped the sway modifiers from either 1.2 or 1.3 down to a flat 1.0 for both sidearms and SMGs. So, if you were rocking the Senator, that used to have a 1.3 sway modifier, it's now got a sway of 1. The Talon has dropped, again, from 1.2 down to 1. Hell, even the stim pistol, which was hella difficult to hit divers with who needed the heals, that's been dropped from a sway of 1.2 down to 1. The TLDR here is less sway, good. And again, this applies to the SMGs as well. So all of these should feel better to handle and aim. But I want to be upfront here. I haven't had a chance to test these out, but that change looks like a decent reduction to sway and should, I'm going to stress the word here, should make these weapons less of a chore to aim and fire. Once you get into the game and download this patch update, try them out for yourselves and come back here to leave a comment with your feedback. Do they feel better to aim and fire now? Let me know. All of you melee mains out there, listen up, because this update is ushering in wholesale changes to melee balancing, which is aimed at making base melee more powerful without the need to use one of the melee passive armor sets, which, by the way, the base changes here in combo with something like Peak Physique will now net you an even more powerful melee strike than before. So with that in mind, here's the changes. Bayonet weapons, so this is the Constitution and the Amendment, are seeing their base melee damage raised from 110 up to 165, and for both, their durable damage is also being juiced up from 55 to 83. That's both sizable gains for extra stabby. In addition, the Stun Baton gains 25 base damage and 13 durable damage. The Stun Lance goes up from 110 to 165 base damage and also gains 28 durable damage. The Saber picks up 40 base damage plus 33 durable damage. The Combat Hatchet is juiced up by a whopping 80 base damage and 40 durable damage, and the Machete is the winner in gains here, picking up an additional 100 base damage and 50 durable damage. Now, stay with me because there's also some changes here to melee buffs for Peak Physique, Rock Solid, and Reinforced Epaulets, as both Peak Physique and Rock Solid drop from 100% extra melee damage down to 40%, while Reinforced Epaulets drops from 50% down to 20%. So, TLDR here again is we gain base melee damage, making the weapon strike stronger, but we lose bonus melee for the 3 armor passives I just mentioned. This should have overall 2 effects. First, it's aimed at making base melee weapons more powerful, ideally allowing us Helldivers to choose and equip them more as our secondaries, while secondly, reducing our overall dependency on using extra melee damage armor sets. So you can use your Desert Stormer or Engineering Kit armor sets and not be swinging Nerf toys at your targets. However, according to the Arrowhead devs and their latest devlog, the base melee buffs in combo with the melee armor passives, even with the nerfs to their passive strength, will now make you more powerful than you were before. Overall, solid W if the numbers test out, as that melee buff armor passive was far too limiting. How many of you out there struggle with toggling the different ammo types on weapons that come equipped with them, mainly because they're sometimes on the left side of the UI and sometimes they're on the right? Well, this latest update has changed the ammo type, or like in the case of the Double Freedom, the volley or semi mode, now all over to the left weapon function direction. This isn't rate of fire directionals being changed up, just the toggle of varied ammo types, or for those weapons that have different fire modes, like for instance, again, the Bushwhacker sidearm, where you can toggle between volley and semi mode. All of that is now uniformly mapped to the left directional for consistency. And for miscellaneous changes here, the crisper fire-belching sidearm has seen its mag size buffed from 30 up to 50, and both the Pineapple and Arc nades have seen their max amounts and starting amounts buffed by +1. So yeah, more fire and more nades for these 3 pieces. By the way, if you are enjoying my Helldivers content, here's a great place to press pause and hit that subscribe button. On my last HD2 upload, 67.4% of viewers out there were not subscribed, and I'd love to get that ratio down to a 50-50 split. So again, please hit subscribe to support the channel, and don't forget to ring the notifications bell so you never miss another of my upload alerts. All right, next up we've got the Stratagem changes, and some of what we've already talked about has spilled into these as well, which you'll see here just now. Now first up, the Ballistic Shield Backpack and Orbital Smoke Strike have both received shorter cooldown timers, and I've got to be honest, as a longtime Division Shield main that used to use that thing in PvP there as well, I've really got to buckle down and start using this thing more in Helldivers too. Anyways, we've also got more melee weapon changes here, as the Defoliation Tool, aka the Chainsword, picked up 150 base damage, taking it up from 300 to 450, along with 75 more durable damage, up from 150 to 225. And as far as I know, none of these Chainsword stats appear in the game, so this is something to gauge just how well this thing will perform. Also, the One True Flag, aka it's not a magic flag, saw its base damage jump up from 110 to 200, and its durable damage nearly doubled from 55 to 100. So again, these are in line with the sweeping changes to make base melee more impactful without the need for melee passive armor sets. Both the Railgun and the Wasp launchers saw the UI changes, taking their weapon functions and now mapping to the left weapon function direction. So there's safe and unsafe mode on the Railgun and the programmable ammo on the Wasp launcher as well. And finally, pay very close attention to this one. The GL, the grenade launcher, has been buffed from medium to heavy armor penetration, now making it capable of destroying a Hulk by hitting the faceplate. Okay, now over to the enemy changes, and there are some biggies here as well, starting off with the Automaton's aiming. You see, in the past, when there was a lot of bots trying to aim at us, their aim would not update properly, leaving them still shooting at a position we had already been detected at, but had since moved away from. However, Now their aim updates will happen more frequently, meaning they will now track you better, even when there are a lot of them on the battlefield. And it is said that these more frequent aim updates will not affect performance. Now, I'm both very interested and extremely concerned about this change, not so much in terms of the Automaton overall difficulty, but more so because of updates to enemy AI, specifically the bots, have not always gone down the way that they were intended to. In terms of enemy damage output and the changes there, well, the Bile Dragon has seen its direct flame attack damage reduced or nerfed by 25%, which I think overall is a solid adjustment. Also, remember how the Devastators received a durable damage increase in one of our previous patches, which was worded in vague terms? Well, that arm durability change has been reverted. Also, the Rocket Raiders, Rocket Devs, and Hulk Bruiser have all received increased damage buffs versus durable targets. So, what does that mean? Well, that means that they're going to be doing more damage against our vehicles, like the FRV, our exosuits, and of course, you saw it on the thumbnail, the Bastion Tank, which was confirmed in the devlog this morning. So yeah, we are finally getting a freaking tank in the game after so long waiting. Just watch out that those bots slinging rockets in your direction don't hit it with too much damage, because their damage was, of course, just buffed. And finally, the same durable damage buff versus our vehicles was also given to the Overseers and Crescent Overseers, with the Crescent variant also receiving a damage buff to its direct shot when you divers get in too close to it. And it's also received more stagger force now on its artillery barrage. And I also want to throw in here, bot gunships have also got that same durable damage versus our vehicle buff, and they just too received an updated aim mechanic. So they should now attack us better with those machine guns. A very minor but very cool change that's definitely worthy of mention here is that we can now choose and equip victory poses as our Helldiver emotes, outside of using the ones that require 2 people to perform. The devs also confirmed you can equip the random victory pose as your emote if you want some chaos in it when you select it. How about weapon and stratagem fixes? Well, there's too many for me to count and go through individually. Instead, I'm just going to show you them up on screen and scroll through them, but I do want to highlight a few, including the Commando no longer having hipfire smart aim. So in the past, if you laser pointed a target and then hipfired it, the rockets would go to that target. Well, no longer. The rockets will actually just go out in front of you. Also, the supply pack infinite ammo bug is apparently now gone. You can also reload inside the FRV, and there were more than a few sound effect corrections here as well. We also need to mention that the P92 Warrant now has the same drag and gravity stats on non-guided as on guided rounds, and it received the same weapon mode toggle being moved over to the left directional. There's a mention here about how they fixed the spawn rates on the rapid acquisition missions for difficulty 10 along with spawn points, but I honestly don't know what that means. Is that more enemies and more consistent spawns or less? You know, I guess we're going to find out. And finally, we've come to the last part of these patch notes, the miscellaneous game fixes. Again, check them out scrolling on your screens, but there are some biggies buried in here as well, such as Commando operations now being available on all bot-controlled planets, which will be available alongside regular mission types. Damage inconsistencies between client and host have somehow now been fixed, so non-host players will now do the same damage as the host. God, I hope that one works well. And we got some general fog density, volumetric fog setting changes along with the way player ambient light was used in game, with new tweaks made to how we see in seriously dark environments. And there you go. Woo. Man, that was a lot, and hopefully this breakdown was able to tear it all down for you, along with, of course, the examples I showed on screen, because I know that sometimes the wording in these patch notes is garbled, and it just doesn't make any sense. We've got a lot to try out in game today, as we know that the Siege Breakers Warbond is coming later today. We've got a freaking tank to lay the smackdown on those interstellar dissidents, and it looks like the patch, at least on paper, is an overall W. Now here's where you get to drop your thoughts on it all. Post a comment with your impressions and feedback, and let's get a healthy discussion going down there. If you happen to like the video, please consider hitting subscribe while ringing the notifications bell to receive my future upload alerts. a massive thanks goes out to all of our hardcore channel supporters. And until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.